Having a president who is an army or a military man is the worst mistake any African country can do. It's the worst mistake any West African country can embark on. Why? When a military leader is in place, he does not work with constitution. He does not need anyone to guide him or instruct him. His yes is yes, his no is no. He can just wake up any day and decide to kill an entire community, and that will stand. He can just call his battalion or soldiers, call his boys and say, go to this person's house, burn down the house, kill the person, and that will be done instantly. There is no forgiveness with military leadership. There is no mercy. They don't marry mercy. They work based on what their constitution have said. So it is expected that no African country, no West African country should have a leader who is a military man. We believe in democracy, where leadership is not just being chosen based on coup, killing of the next person, but majority of the people choose who should lead them by casting of vote. So this is our ideology. We don't want someone who will just wake up one day, move his guns, and then kill people and become a leader. We want someone who is being elected by people who love the ideas, the policies that you present. They vote you into office, you stay in office and fulfill the promises that you have made. And when you fail to do this, it is expected that we vote you out. So we don't like military leadership. They are evil people. All military people are evil. They are demonic people. Once they get to power, it's killing. Don't get me wrong. This is how we were taught. This is how we were programmed to believe, especially in Africa. We are meant to believe that military leadership is bad. So many of us grew up not under the leadership of the military rule. When I was born in Nigeria, it was not the military that was in place. When I was born, it was democracy, civilians. There were leaders in Nigeria. Now, during those tenures, they believe that they are the best. The military people are worse. So, it is expected that they never come to place again. President Obasanjo was one of the military leaders who gave out power to civilians, or who gave out leadership to civilians. During those days, like as a president, right? Many other leaders came. President Abacha was a military person. Buhari was a military person. Many of them were military people. And when they rule, we read stories that they did very bad. They kill a lot of people. They can just decide to kill you. So as a result, we don't need military leadership again in Nigeria. We don't want them. They should go. They are evil people. Now, that mindset that they have given to us is one of the worst mindset that can be engineered, can be indoctrinated to any human being on earth. Because I know it is not true. If you are a bad person, you are a bad person. It's not because you are a military personnel. I know a military personnel who, how should I put it, who locked me up in prison because I was owing the sister-in-law. And there was no judgment was done. No constitution was used. They just took me to court, and instantly the judge just signed that I should be reminded. What? Why? No discussion, no bail conditions, nothing. Because I was owing the sister-in-law, I think 1.4 million, I was sent to prison straight. This is how bad other people are. But we have a lot of military people who have saved lives. We have a lot of military leadership who are changing ties in Africa. And one of them is who I want us to discuss today. And look at the kind of policies that he has brought, that I as a farmer am interested and love. And I wish other African leaders do send. I don't know of any other thing that he's doing might be bad. I'm not in Burkina Faso. I'm talking about Ibrahim Traoer, who is the current president of Burkina Faso. And I believe one among the youngest presidents we have in Africa. He's there as a leader, as a president. And people are praising him. You have watched a lot of videos about him. You have read about him. And the West are even afraid of him. They are scared. And they didn't even hide it that we don't like this young man. They have shown to our face that we don't like this guy. the policies he's bringing on board will not favor us. The kind of conversation he's bringing will not favor us. And as a result, they are against him. And you can see what Ibrahim Traoer is doing. He's moving away from them and going to join ties with their enemies. But that is not what I'm about to share today, because that is politics which I don't have deep knowledge on. And I know many people will say what he's doing is bad. Some people will say what he's doing is good. I'm not here for that debate. But I want us to look at some of the policies that this guy is doing in agriculture that I love. As a farmer, I wish he's my president. Let me be frank. I wish he's in my country in line with agriculture. I don't know whether maybe other policies. He's killing people like the way we believe military people do. He's harassing people the way we are taught military people do. I'm not in Burkina Faso. If you're there, you can even teach us or explain to us what this guy is doing that is good. If what we are reading and watching online is false, you can also let us know in the comment section, right? Don't be scared. So now, the number one thing this guy has brought is agricultural labor for sentence reduction. What this means is that when he came into power, he said, okay, we have prisoners locked up in prison and the government is the one providing food for them. Now, why the government is borrowing money from the West to feed prisoners in Africa, he brought a policy and said, okay, what we can do is that let's allow the prisoners work on farms to produce the food that they will eat, and then that food will also be sold in the market where other people will eat. Now, the goal is that we don't want to be importing food. And the only way we can do this is not sentiment, is to increase production capacity. And one of the ways we can do this is that let's allow our prisoner to come out to work. And why he's doing this is because, now this is another angle that I love. So let's assume while I was in prison, I use my personal self as an example. While I was in prison, I met a guy who was sentenced 27 years in prison. That guy was less than 22 years. And he was sentenced 27 years in prison. I don't know the crime he committed, because while I was there, I think he was one of the president. You know, in prison we have president, so you can't ask him certain questions. But he was sentenced 20-something years in prison. Now, what the president says is that if you're sentenced 27 years or any years in prison, when you work on farm, your sentence years will be reduced. So if you work on, let's say, in a poultry farm that has been set up by the government, you work there for 1 year, for 1 month, you have 3 months reduction to your terms. So let's assume you're to stay in prison for 18 months and you went to a farm and worked there for 1 month, you have reduced your 18 by 3. So it is expected that you work, say, 16 months. You have 16 months. When you work another extra 1 month, you reduce by 3. When you work another extra 1 month, you reduce by 3. And when you're complete, you will be released. That is what is called rehabilitation. Rehabilitation does not mean you keep someone dumped there, you're feeding the person with trash, and you believe that the person will come out after the 20 years to be a good person. No. It is expected that that person be trained. We know we have some kind of funny policies in my country when it comes to that, but it don't work. Now, while I was in prison, the kind of food that we eat, you will not love it. It was very, very, very terrible. Very terrible. When I got there, I couldn't eat. For days, I couldn't eat. I was just fasting and praying because the food could not move. Sometimes I will just manage to get bread and cook because I couldn't eat their food. But because I knew I was going to stay there long, because of the person that brought me in that place, I have to just force myself and start eating. And I was just eating the nonsense that they feed us with. It was very terrible. Now, while I'm out and free, many other people are there eating that rubbish in Nigeria. Now, the money that federal government allocates per prisoner for food is more than 18,000 naira. I think it's more than 20,000 naira. I don't get the figures, but it's way higher. But the people who are in charge, they don't give that food to prisoners. Now, why that? I don't know why. Why can't we adapt the policy that this guy has brought? Let those guys come out and work and reduce the years that they're supposed to stay there. Let them be trained. So let's assume I'm a young farmer. I have a poultry farm of 10,000 birds, and federal government will now assign maybe 3 prisoners to come and be working in that farm to reduce their jail terms. And while they are working there, the federal government is not paying them. Me, who is the owner of the farm, maybe I'm paying them a stipend, or federal government is still providing the food they need to eat and work. And then federal government can, as I generate revenue on the farm, I'm paying tax. I've employed other people and paying their bills. The economy is growing. We are no longer importing food from the West. That is the goal. So when you say this kind of things, people be like, no. We can import the things that we cannot produce. But importing food is very, 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 very sick. And the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoer, said, no, let's look at how we can be food sufficient ourselves, food secured. We should get sovereignty over our food and not just electing leaders or selecting leaders. So I think I love this policy, and many other Africans love the policy that he has brought in terms of making prisoners to become laborers on the farm, so they can help us to produce more food. They can also eat and also be trained back to be good people. I love the policy. Now, another policy he has brought is farmers empowerment. Farmers empowerment. Then after empowerment, farmers training, then empowerment. Now, in many African countries, we are doing it the way round, another way round. What we are doing is that we empower farmers without training. So a government, because it's looking for next 10 leadership, or he wants to win the next election, he can just bring 1 trailer load of fertilizer and share to farmers who are not being trained. They will just buy tractors, make videos with the tractors and say we have distributed 5,000 tractors. To who? Where are the farmers that have received the 5,000 tractors? So these are the issues that we are having. Now we are saying in Burkina Faso, the president said, no, we are going to train you first. Over 5,000 youth are trained to become good farm workers. And the president have invested how much? Over $20 million into training of youth. So they are not just giving you tractors, you have been trained. And the federal government again is giving them land. The president is giving them land, so that after training, you're not looking for land. You don't have the money to go and buy land. Government will allocate land to you. Now let's assume someone like me who is in Nigeria, my government will give me 10 hectares or 100 hectares and say, okay, produce rice for us. We don't want to be importing rice. Produce the rice. We are going to buy from you at a good price and give to other people who are processors. That is the goal. So the president of Burkina Faso is doing this. They want to increase their rice production capacity, and they cannot do it with sentiment. He has to empower farmers. He has to give them tractors, and he has given them the tractors. He gave them the land, and he gave them everything they need. And when they produce this rice, they have a factory that the government will buy from you and give to those factories to process. This is a beautiful policy that I believe many other African countries should copy, especially my own country, Nigeria. Farmers should not just be empowered. Train farmers before empowerment. When you don't train them, you give them the inputs, many of them will sell it, many of them will use it for something else. So farmers should be trained before empowerment. Now the next policy, or the next thing that the guy is doing that I love, is that he has invested money in dry season farming. In Africa, we do mostly wet season farming. So once it's dry season, we're all on indefinite strike, waiting for when rains will fall. We have that same experience in Benue State this year, where the rains did not come back on time. We waited. People who wanted to do groundnuts could not plant on time. People who wanted to find yam could not plant on time. Personally, I was doing cassava farm. We have to even reduce the number of hectares we want to do because of lack of rains. So the president is investing money in irrigational farming. Over 144 million US dollars has invested in that, in more dams, building of more dams. In Africa, in Nigeria, we have a lot of dams that are not being used. I've been to a few in Niger State, and we even have a few in Benue State. They are not functional. These are dams that were constructed by government during the military regime. And it was expected that we supposed to maintain those dams so that there will be water availability for farmers to do dry season farming. Once it's dry season farming, we suffer in Africa. A bag of tomato goes for 300, 400,000 in Nigeria, one basket, because there is no water for farmers to produce. And those who are producing, they are buying petrol. We don't have light, not to talk of. And the president of Burkina Faso is going that route and saying, no, what we can do is that let's provide water for you. If you want to go into dry season farming, portions of land or plots are allocated for dry season farming. Then all you need to do is to go there, get your land, and farm over 714 hectares of land allocated for dry season farming, and all the inputs are available. Now, if you compare that to many African countries, it's very small. We have people who are doing over 5,000 hectares. So that is very, very small. But it is a step towards progress. And that is what we are crying and begging our leaders to do in Nigeria. Begging our leaders to do in other African countries. Invest money in irrigational farming. Farmers can't do it. I will not be able to pump water that all my rice we need in a season. But if government provide dams that are properly maintained, I can get a land close to the dam, just buy a small pumping machine and produce the vegetables that we need. Instead of us, the president, opening border for rice to come into Nigeria, why not invest in dry season farming? Not just empower farmers, train farmers, give them land so they can farm, and government will buy and give to rice processors. This is all we need. Now, another thing the guy has done that I love is value addition. He have invested money in value addition. They have set up a tomato processing factory that will be processing millions of tons of tomato per year. This is a big investment. Now, if you come to Nigeria, you see a lot of tomatoes that goes bad. You see a lot of vegetables that goes bad every year. And all we do is complain. Nobody is investing money in processing. And when it comes to processing, most times it's only the government that have the money to invest in processing. So even if the government will not be able to run the business, it should make running business easier for us. It should make investing in processing easy. Now, for example, while I was importing my rice machines, I love giving an example for myself, right? So that someone will not feel I'm just reading script. No, I'm using what is in my head, what I'm seeing on ground to speak to you. While I was importing my rice processing machine, based on Nigerian constitution, agricultural machines were supposed to be tax free. I was not supposed to pay tax by importing agricultural machines than bringing to produce food in Africa, in Nigeria. But guess what? When the machine got to the port, they told me to pay. So when I brought out that, I said, no, but based on federal government law, I'm not supposed to pay for this machine. Guess what they told me? They asked me to go and bring the person that brought the policy to give me my machine. I have to pay in millions for a machine that I'm bringing into the country to produce food that will feed the population, to produce food that will employ people. Over 100 plus people were working in my factory. And now that that factory is down, guess what? They are jobless. I know many of them who till today, they don't have a job. So if government will invest money in processing, if they cannot build the factory like the bright Ibrahim Traoer have done, why not make policies that will be favorable to us who are investing money in processing? There should be a place where I can go and get a long-term loan to buy processing equipment and set up a company. This is what we expect from our president. Another thing he has done that I love is security. He has brought in security into the country. And if you watch some of the videos by tribal people, they tell you that even the citizens, they sleep on the street to protect their president. The road that is leading to the presidential house, they sleep there every night in their thousands. They say they are protecting their president from external attacks, because we have seen instances where bright president like Ibrahim Traoer were murdered. They were killed in Africa. And the Burkina Faso people are saying, we don't want Ibrahim to be killed. And the only thing we can do is to protect him. We know God is the one that will protect him, but we have a role to play. I am not sure there is no president in Africa that the citizens will genuinely live where they're supposed to sleep on the road or by the roadside to protect their president. Come on now. It can't happen in Nigeria. Nobody loved the president to that limit, apart from his children, right? Nobody. All the people, they will shout because they are benefiting from the tips. They can appreciate him because there are policies that they are eating from. So I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm saying that is how the system have designed it. Once you're president, you eat with your family members and your close friends. You can see it that currently in Nigeria they are even frustrated that this president did not favor me. They are insulting him. They not tell and he's a drug person, he's a criminal. It's simply because he's not giving you money. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing, that a bright president has come on board and is providing solutions to. And I love him for that. And this is my open appreciation to him. I know he might not be able to watch this video, but I know someone who will watch this video who is close to him. We love you, Mr. President. This is what we are crying for in Africa. Not minding that you're a military personnel. I don't know if you're killing people there every day like how we are being told. But the policies that you have brought, we just pray that God should help you, give you long years and good health, so you can lead the people of Burkina Faso. We are all Africans and we love you for what you're doing. At least we the youth, we love you for what you're doing. If the political elite don't love you and say you're a military person, we don't know much about that. Thank you so much for what you're doing for the people of Burkina Faso. We pray that our leaders also copy from you and do what you're doing. Thank you for watching this video. I remain Dennison, your billionaire farmer.